have some Q&As followed by that. And there'll be prasadam served at about 7:30 p.m., between 7:30 and 8. And we'll have the last Aarti and Darshan for the day at 8 p.m. Before we get started, just a quick introduction about Mahabhagavat Prabhu. For those of you who've been visiting our temple, you probably know Prabhu very well. He's been serving in our community for almost 2 decades or probably more. Over the years, his services have included helping cook prasadam for the deities, for the devotees, and he speaks about the teachings and the wisdoms of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and he regularly goes out on Harinam and Kirtan in the city whenever he travels along with his family. And academically, he's got a master's in machine learning and AI, and he's currently a CTO for an insurtech company in Toronto and US. We're so happy that he's here to share today on this topic of approaching Krishna. So we'd like to welcome Mahabhagavat Prabhu Government. Prabhu's promised to keep this session interactive, so everyone's welcome to share your questions whenever you get opportunity to. So without further ado, we'll pass it over to Mahabhagavat Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Please sing with me. Jaya Radha. Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. We'll begin with a little. Om Adhyanatirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respect to the obeisance, the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuddhapadakamalam Shri Virun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Savarnathamritam Mutam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Varijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Savarnavita Shri Shakanutam Sacha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagalpate Gopesha Gopika Radha Santa Namostute Tapra Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much for choosing to spend your Sunday evening with us here at ISKCON Toronto, the Hare Krishna Temple. We're very grateful to you for your time, the effort that you have made to come here. Braving all the traffic, the crowds that are here. We promise you that it will be worth it and it will be a great experience. Especially, your visit is already successful because seeing you, Radha Shri Gopinath is just beaming. If you have seen his smile, it's even bigger today because of all of you. Thank you very much. So today, we are going to talk about approaching Krishna. Krishna understands intention perfectly. You cannot fool Krishna. It's impossible to fool Krishna. But even if somebody appears to be not sincere externally, Krishna knows what their heart is. So we'll talk about that today. Okay, this is what we'll do today. Okay, we are going to ask ourselves what we want from life. Okay, why anybody should approach Krishna anyways, right? And who can approach Krishna? Am I qualified? Am I not qualified? Right? We're going to chant some shlokas together during the course of the class. And then we'll talk about how we can approach Krishna, how we approach Krishna, and where we can start. We'll do a quick recap. We'll spend a few times with questions. Okay, and if there's not enough time for questions by 7:15, I'll be around at the book table right there. So you feel free to come and ask me your questions. Then we have some delicious dinner prasadam lined up for you, cooked by Mother Sudevi and her team. She is an amazing devotee. Is she here in the room? No. But the gentleman who was taking the aarti around, that is Mahajan Prabhu, that is her husband. They both cook together along with their son, who is also here. So if you see them, please thank them. And then we'll have a rocking kirtan at 8 o'clock, and then you can start your week supercharged. And you know how to approach? Okay, so we'll start. If you ask someone, why are you doing what you're doing? No matter what it might be, it might appear like a very strange thing to us. Somebody is doing something, but the bottom line is that they are doing that, whatever it is that they are doing, because they think that they are going to become happy by doing that. Okay? So, we are not happy trying to become happy. Okay? In this world, right? So therefore, we are almost searching for our lost happiness. Actually, there's a book there at the book table, Finding Our Lost Happiness. It's a collection of transcribed lectures by Srila Prabhupada. It has a big sunflower on top, on the cover with a blue sky in the background. So if you get a chance, you should read that book, Finding Our Lost Happiness. And everybody out there is that, they're trying to figure out how they can become happy again. Prahlad Maharaj in the Srimad Bhagavatam says that a person's unhappiness starts the moment they start looking for happiness. Okay? So the bottom line is that spirit souls, we are actually anandamayo bhyasat, right? We are all accustomed to being very happy. And that ananda that we are accustomed to is actually Krishna. Okay? So Krishna is running and all these cowherd boys and cars are following him in the forest.
and they're chasing their happiness, right there. He's right there with them. But those of us who are in the material world, we have tried to come here because we wanted to replace Krishna in the material world. We felt that what would it be like if I was Krishna? If all these boys and all these cows and all these cowherd girls and all of these people in Vrindavan were adoring me instead of Krishna. And the moment we had that thought, Jeev bhog vancha kare, pashete maya tare, chapatiya dhare. So Maya caught us by the scruff of our neck, brought us to and sold us a deal. She said, I'll take you to a place where you can be Krishna. All of us are here trying to be Krishna. If you're driving on the road, if you're trying to discipline a child, everybody is trying to be Krishna. It doesn't matter. Everybody in this world. What we didn't realize before we came here is that she has sold the same deal to all of us. Okay? She's a really great travel agent, right? You get an exclusive. You can be Krishna, but she has told that to every single one of us. Okay, so all of us are here looking for happiness, trying to be Krishna, trying to be number one. And then finally, those of us at least who are in this room right now, we know that we are not Krishna. Okay? We have tried it, we have tried so many different things, and we have reached the conclusion that I am not Krishna. Bhakti Marg Swami Maharaj, he met a Christian priest once during his walks, and he was a young monk back then, young sannyasi. And this monk was elderly, this elderly Catholic priest. He said, son, he said to Bhakti Marg Swami Maharaj, one thing I have realized in all my years is that there is a God and I am not He. Right? That's what his realization was. So it's a fact. We have all realized that actually. That's why we are here, in the temple. Why anybody should approach Krishna is because Krishna says that anyone who is fully consciousness of Him, knows Him to be the ultimate beneficiary of all our sacrificial activities and all of our austerities, the Supreme Lord of all the planets and all the demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, a person who knows Krishna as Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, that person, Jnatva Shantim Richati. This is in the Bhagavad Gita in the 5th chapter. Okay? And who can approach Krishna? Okay? We have many examples in the scripture that are very, very extremely encouraging. We have examples of animals approaching Krishna. When Krishna places fruit, the deer come to him. The calves and the cows of Vrindavan approach Krishna. The peacocks approach Krishna. The plants and the trees approach Krishna. Even if somebody is not in Vrindavan, Gajendra, who was in the heavenly planet, the king of the elephants, approached Krishna. Even though he did not know, he was in the elephant consciousness, but he still knew that there is a supreme, and he approached Krishna with a lotus when he was in great danger. It doesn't matter. There are dying people. Ajamil, he was about to die. In fact, he saw the Yamadutas about to collect his souls. You have debt collectors, you have tax collectors, and then you have soul collectors. They are called Yamadutas. Okay? They collect the soul and take them back for whatever corrective action is required. Right? And this Ajamil, having lived an extremely sinful life, actually saw those soul collectors come for him. And then he was extremely afraid, and he cried out for Narayan, and he had an amazing experience. Right? He saw the Vishnu Dutas, and then he transformed his life and so on. Right? It doesn't matter if somebody is rich or poor. In the Krishna book, if you don't have the Krishna book, you should get one, by the way. Krishna approached two devotees. One was a king, and one was a pauper, a little Brahmana, who had nothing. He didn't even have a seat to offer to Krishna in his house. Right? So Shuddhadeva and Bahulashva were these two devotees who invited Krishna. Simultaneously, Krishna expanded himself into two and went to the king's house, received the king's reception, went to the Brahmana's house, received the pauper's reception, and he was equally satisfied in both. So it doesn't matter. You can be rich or poor, you can still approach Krishna. You can be educated or you can be not educated. Right? In fact, one of our Sampradaya Acharyas, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Prabhupada, one of the spiritual masters who is on the altar here, you will see, look at the picture carefully, he was actually illiterate. He was definitely not educated in the general sense of the word. But every word he spoke was scripture. There are many other such souls who are not very highly learned but are great spiritual masters. In fact, one of our great spiritual masters in the Bhagavatam, she had a profession as a prostitute, and she's our spiritual master. Okay, her name is Pingala, and there's a beautiful song that goes Pingala Uvacha. she had a great realization. She waited and waited and waited for a customer the whole night, and she could not find a customer. She was trying all kinds of poses. She was dressed very attractively, but she didn't find anybody. Finally, she had that vairagya, and she had the moment when she said, the person I've been waiting for is Krishna. And therefore she's a spiritual master. So it doesn't matter what you are or who you are, you can still approach Krishna, and you can lead people to Krishna too. And you can approach Krishna from any culture, right? Prahlad was born in a family of demons, right? Khatwanga Maharaj was a great king who was assisting the demigods. It doesn't matter where you come from. Even on this planet, in this room, you see people from different cultures sitting here appreciating Krishna. So it doesn't matter which culture. You can be of any background. You can be 5 years old like Dhruva or Prahlad. You can be absolutely wicked. You can be like Jagai and Madhai. You can be anybody. It doesn't matter. If you're living, then you can approach Krishna. Right? You can be a pious person. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is that anybody can approach Krishna regardless. So anyone and everyone, especially all of us, having made the effort to come here, we can definitely approach Krishna. So we should feel encouraged. Okay, we'll chant a verse. So before we chant the verse, we'll repeat this out. Please repeat this after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chant this verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Gopya Kamat Bhayat Kamso Dveshat Chaidyadayo Nupam Sambandhan Krishnaya Sneha Yuyam Bhaktya Vibho. We'll try that a little bit, one line at a time, okay? Gopya Kama Bhayat Kamso Vesha Chaidyadayo Nripa Sambandha Drishnaya Sneha Yuyam Bhaktya Vayam Vibho. Here's the translation. My dear King Yudhishthira, this is from the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the first chapter. Narad Muni is instructing Yudhishthira Maharaj. He's saying, my dear King Yudhishthira, gopis by their lusty desires, Kamsa by his fear, Shishupal and other kings by envy, the Yadus by their familiar relationship with Krishna, you Pandavas by your great affection for Krishna, and we, the general devotees by our devotional service, have obtained the mercy of Krishna. So Narad Muni is speaking about himself in this particular case. Okay, so this raises the question, okay, the gopis did a particular thing, the Rishnis had a particular relationship, the Pandavas had a particular relationship. Who should I follow? Right? Should we follow the gopis? Right? Should we follow Kamsa and develop an enmity towards Krishna? Should we be like Shishupal and start criticizing Krishna? Right? Should we be like the Yadus and have a familiar relationship with Krishna? You know, like some people. Should we be like the Pandavas and develop a very affectionate relationship with Krishna and sit and eat with him, for example? What should we do? Right? It's a question for everybody. I'm going to ask you all to answer that question. Okay, there are 5 camps here. Okay, I want all of you to pick a camp from here. There's the gopis, right? There's Kamsa, right? There's the Pandavas. There's Shishupal, who is about to be liberated with Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra. And there are the Yadus in Dwarka who are waiting to welcome Krishna back. Okay? Pick a party. Who should we follow? Those of you who said gopis or any answer here, it was a trick question. Okay? None of them. Answer is none of them. Why? Because Krishna, remember what was the title of this? Approaching Krishna, he who understands intention perfectly. Okay? Okay? So, first of all, our intention was to be Krishna. Okay? And now our intention is to jump over everybody else and go and be, a direct servitor of the gopis or the Pandavas or the Vrishnis make Krishna one of our family members, right? The question here is, it's not very different. The desire to serve Krishna directly is not very different from the desire to be Krishna himself. It is a kind of pride, and Krishna detects that, you know. So what we need to do is chant one more verse, okay? This is Prahlad's verse, okay? So Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto also chants this verse, okay? He says, Shri Prahlad Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktishchenava Lakshana Veda Bhagavatyadha Tanmanyedhitamuttamam. It's a very famous verse. We won't read the entire translation here, but this is a very famous verse that is Prahlad Maharaj's instruction, and Srila Prabhupada speaks about this instruction very often. This describes the 9 Navavida Bhakti, 9 processes of devotional service. So what we did now is hearing and chanting. Shravanam Kirtanam, that's the first aspects of devotional service. Okay, so you can look it up in the Bhagavatam. It's a famous verse, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Okay, when the Shravanam Kirtan is there, then Vishnu Smaranam happens naturally. Okay. But the main thing that I want to focus here, one who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. But still it doesn't answer our question. Now I'm going to answer our question. Narad Muni is speaking that verse where he says Gopya Kama Bhayat Kamso, and this, so he says Bhaktya Vayam Vibho. He says, I have attained the mercy of Krishna through bhakti. Okay, so we actually should follow in the footsteps of Narad Muni, because we are ordinary people. We are definitely not at the level of Gopi. If you want to be on Gopi Bhav, I can tell you how you can be on Gopi Bhav, and tell me if you can follow this, okay? Bhakti Brihad Bhava Swami Maharaj, when we did a chanting workshop with him called Anamrita, he taught us how to go into Bhakti Bhav. Okay, this is how you go into Bhakti Bhav. Without eating, eating or drinking or sleeping, you chant 108 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra continuously. And then you will be in Gopi Bhav until you eat, drink or sleep. Okay? So if you want to be in Gopi Bhav, be my guest, chant 108 rounds. Okay? Don't eat, don't sleep, don't drink. And the moment you eat, sleep or drink, you have lost your Gopi Bhav. Okay? So it's extremely difficult for ordinary people who have jobs to do and work and children to raise and cooking and all of these other things. Okay? So we are following the process of Narad Muni. But then again, another trick question, not Narad Muni directly, okay? So Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is sitting there in his Murti form, is an Acharya who has brought the message of and the system of Narad Muni to all of us in a most accessible way. So we are actually following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. Now, by now you should know that I am a tricky fellow. So you should know that you cannot even serve Srila Prabhupada directly. Okay, there are a bunch of people, right? It's called ISKCON Bangalore today, right? They believe that they can serve Srila Prabhupada directly, stepping over all of those who have dedicated and surrendered themselves to the life or to the service of Srila Prabhupada before they were even born, right? These we are talking about the actual disciples and grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada. So these people actually said, no, Prabhupada is the one, I'm going to follow Prabhupada, all of you out of the way, right? It's another way of saying, I want to serve Krishna directly, I want to serve Prabhupada directly, okay? So what we are aspiring for in this material world, unfortunately, is to be boss boss, right? We want to be the boss of the boss of the boss, right? We want to be the topmost number one boss, right? We want to be the king of the castle, and that castle should be the castle of all castles, right? And that fort should be the fort of all forts, right? We want that number one position, right? But if you want to be happy, okay? If you want to be happy, we have to learn how to become dasanudas. Dasa, dasa, dasa. We have to find the 150th das of Srila Prabhupada and go and stand in line behind them and try to serve them. Right? This is a very important thing for us to be doing. Okay? If you don't believe me, we're going to chant this verse that was a very famous verse that was very loved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay? We're going to chant this together. Together, okay. Naham Vipro, Nacha Narapati, Napi Vaishyo Na Shudro, Naham Varni, Nacha Grahapati, No Manastho Yatirva, Kintu Prodyan, Nikhila Paramananda, Purnamritabdher, Gopi Bhartuhu, Padakamalayur, Dasa Dasanudasaha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu repeated this verse many times. This appears in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also. It appears in Chaitanya Rupa Goswami's Madhyavali as well. In the Madhya Leela 1380. If you don't have a Chaitanya Charitamrita, this one verse alone is worth it, okay, to get the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu repeats, I'm talking in the voice of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, okay. He says, I'm not a Brahmana, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya, I'm not a Shudra, I'm not a Brahmachari, I'm not a householder, I'm not a Vanavasta, I'm not a sannyasi. And Srila Prabhupada paraphrases and says, then what you are? Who you are? He says, I identify myself only as a servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He's like an ocean of nectar. He's the cause of universal transcendental bliss, and he's always ever existing with brilliance. Right? So this verse is worth memorizing and making it part of our own consciousness. Naham Pro Nachanarapati. This is a very beautiful, very famous verse. And do you agree that it's far more fun to chant the verses yourself than the person who is speaking the class just chant them on their own? Right? So everybody should actually learn these verses. The reason we are chanting these verses, so you can go home and learn them by heart and make them part of your consciousness. And whenever you see someone that you can deliver this message of Krishna to, deliver this verse to them, right? You are capable, you are qualified. We just saw that animals are even capable and qualified, right? Each and every one single of you is capable of becoming a guru to someone who does not know about Krishna, right? So I'll give you a specific message, okay? So what we need to do in this process that is given to us by Srila Prabhupada is chant Hare Krishna, one, okay? Let's do that once. Let's chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra once, together. 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 1, check. You've chanted Hare Krishna, excellent. Next, we read Srila Prabhupada's books. Everything that you have read so far or heard so far in this class is coming from Srila Prabhupada's books. I'm not making this up. I have no capability of bringing all of this wisdom to you. I have just got it from Srila Prabhupada's books. So, everybody in this room should actually read Srila Prabhupada's books carefully. Right? The next thing, and we are going to do that shortly, right after this class, I'm standing in your way, right, is take prasad. Not only take prasad once a week on Sunday night, but take only Krishna prasad. Don't eat any other food at all. Because the moment you eat any other food, you subject yourself to the misery of karmic actions and reactions. Don't cook food. Krishna says that Yadnashishta Shinasanto Muchante Sarvakil Vishay Bunjate Dedokam Papa Ye Pachantatma Karana. Person who cooks for themselves, cooks what? Pachanti Atma Karana. What they cook? Papam. Because every grain of rice has a life. Every carrot is a living entity. Right? You cannot do that on your own. You can only do that in the service of Krishna. You need to stay alive, agreed, right? But you do whatever you cook only for Krishna. Right? There are specific rules and regulations that you need to follow. But the primary rule is love. Cook with love. For Krishna, not for anybody else. Don't think of your son. Don't think of your husband. Don't think of your wife. Think of Krishna when you're cooking. Right? That's who you should cook for. And then anybody who tastes that food afterwards will be benefited. So take Krishna Prasad. The second thing is, the next thing is, dance in Kirtan. We're going to have Kirtan at 8 o'clock. Dance. Don't just stand there like this. Dance in Kirtan, right? You're meant to dance. This temple is meant for dancing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Radha Kirshor Gopinath, Sri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, love it to see all of their devotees dancing. Now, you don't have to be some very expert dancer or anything. Very simple steps are sufficient to please Krishna, right? You can do that. And in fact, if you are doing all your fancy steps right in the middle of the temple room, you are guilty of what? Wanting to be Krishna. yourself, attracting all the attention to myself, look at me, right? So that's very difficult. Even more importantly, and that's the primary message of this class, serve Krishna's devotees. So Hanuman Prabhu, who leads the Prasadam serve out, right? He might come and tap you on the shoulder and say, can you help me with serve Prasadam? Never say no to Hanuman Prabhu. Okay? Consider yourself super fortunate if he ever taps you on your shoulder. He did many years ago, tap me on my shoulder and look where I am. Like I'm completely immersed in this Krishna consciousness. So if Hanuman Prabhu taps you on the shoulder, think that Krishna is tapping on the shoulder, okay? But there are more devotees downstairs in the kitchen. After this cooking this big feast for 700 people, right? There is a lot of cleanup to be done, right? So there is even more mercy to be had. There is a group of very small. You go and observe those devotees clean the kitchen, right? Rishi, Dwarkanath Prabhu, Mridul. I think Mridul is going to India. But look at these devotees. They are constantly blissful, The people in the kitchen washing the pots and cleaning the floors are so blissful. Go serve them. Right? Spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes of your time and say, roll up your sleeves, put on some kitchen slippers, and don't take those kitchen slippers to the bathroom, by the way. I saw a bunch of kitchen slippers in the bathroom. Now you can't use them ever again in the kitchen. Whoever did that, rascals. Right? Never do that again. Don't take kitchen slippers in the bathroom. Right? Waste Krishna's money. Right? And then serve Krishna's devotees. And if you do this, do what? Chant Hare Krishna, read Srila Prabhupada's books, take only Krishna Prasad, dance in the Kirtan, serve Krishna by serving his devotees. You will be happy now and you will be happy forever. You don't have to go looking, searching for your happiness. Your happiness will chase you because your happiness is Krishna, right? So, we'll pause there. We'll see if anybody has any questions or challenges to anything that I have said, or feels that something is too difficult, or seems that something I have said is very impractical. So our Ajarya Tirtha Prabhu, our mighty MC, has a microphone, and he's going to give the microphone to anybody who wants to ask a question. Remember, better make your question count, because there are 500 people listening to your question and many more online. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So I have a complicated question.
Complicated? I can't do that. I'm a simple fellow. I'm tricky, but I'm simple.
Without any service, without chanting, without thinking, without doing anything, can you reach Krishna?
Without you, the ultimate thing is the reason. So his question was, without chanting, without service, without this, without that, can I reach Krishna? Why did you come here in the first place? You were with Krishna without having to do any of these things before, right? So, see what happens is that you are in the spiritual world, and in the spiritual world, you desire to be Krishna, and then Krishna said, no, you are you, I am me. You should watch the drama, Big Fish, Little Fish by Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. It's an amazing drama. Big fish is big fish, little fish is little fish. You're happy together. Let's just be here. No, you wanted to go out. Okay, you wanted to go out. Then you became a Brahma in one of the universes. Every living entity, every single one of us here has been a Brahma of a universe. Okay, has been. Every single ant you see has been a Brahma of a universe once upon a time. Right? And then that Brahma, there are two kinds of Brahmas. Okay, there's Bhakti-mukhi Brahmas and there's Bahir-mukhi Brahmas. The Bhakti-mukhi Brahmas are like, they see one lifetime of Brahma, they see everything that's happening in the material world, and they say, I'm going back. I'm not coming. And then they go back, they turn around and they go back, straight back to the spiritual world. The rest of us fools, right, we say, that Indra fellow seems to be enjoying more than me. And that Apsara over there maybe, right? Maybe I should be Agni instead. Or maybe I should be this, I should be that, and like that, going step by step, we have evolved to where we are today. Actually, we have evolved because we have become worms, we have become insects, we have become tigers, we have become pigs, we have become every dog, you cannot imagine all the different living entities, all 8.4 billion fishes. We have seen it all, we have done it all, we have tasted it, everything. There's nothing left to be done. So, because we are in the condition where we are, right, we need to purify ourselves of all the contamination that we have loaded upon ourselves. Right? If these contaminations are not there, then we would have to do nothing. Because Spirit soul is Anandamaya Bhasa, this Sachidananda Vigraha, small Sachidananda Vigraha, but Krishna Sachidananda, there's no need for him to do anything. Naturally, Krishna conscious. Therefore, the scripture says, Akashri Krishna Nama, Nidhapavet Bhani Sevo Mukhe Nijabhalo, Swayameva Swaratchada. So actually, devotion to Krishna is not something that we are saying, hey you, stop doing what you're doing, become a devotee of Krishna. No, no, no. You are already a devotee of Krishna. You know, naturally that is your position, sir. We are trying to revive, we are trying to cure everybody of their amnesia. But I know that you are not one of them. You are chanting, and you are serving, and you are doing all of those things. So he is one of those persons who want to serve everybody else by asking a real chance. Thank you very much. Big hand. What's your name? Shakti. Really Shaktiman. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any other question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So you mentioned about how we can approach Krishna. So in general, I get this question, so I hope you will be able to answer this. Some says, oh, we cannot chant Hare Krishna, but we can have prasadam. And they can say like, okay, out of this 5, I can do 1, 3. I can just read, or I cannot chant, or I can just read. So does this 5 things require approach? I didn't.
Well, it depends how fast you want to go. If you want to go slowly, another million lifetimes, take it easy. Go slow, take your time, no rush. But if you feel that this material world is not a fit place for you, ladies and gentlemen, then do every single thing within your power to finish this business in this lifetime and go back right now. In fact, I'll tell you something, okay? You don't actually have to go back in the sense that you don't have to actually be in the spiritual world in order to be happy. You have to be in the consciousness of the spiritual world. Okay? So I'll tell you, till Prabhupada was in the material world, right? He came to the material world. Was he a materialist? No, he was spiritualist right from his childhood. So there are 2 kinds of souls. There are souls who are going out with their tongues hanging out like a dog, trying to taste this, taste that, get this taste, get that taste, right? And then there are the people who are here to benefit us. All of our acharyas, every single one of our acharyas, every single one of our spiritual masters is not here to benefit themselves, they are here to benefit us. So what we should do really is take every single opportunity that is within our power, while we still can, you know, there will be a time when I can't chant. There will be a time. But such a day will come. Okay, at that time, Krishna will chant for me. Krishna says that himself. Right? In fact, when Mother Satyabhama gave a class about Bhishma Dev, right? And Krishna came and stood in front of Bhishma Dev and said, "You are going now, look at me right now, here I am." Right? Krishna will do that for us. Right? Antakale cha mameva smaran mukva kalevaram vihapyat samadhavam yati nastatra samjaya. But if you are not able to remember Krishna, then Krishna will come and sit in your mind. One of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada says that when we are dying, you know, our world starts shrinking. When older people, you have seen them, their world starts shrinking. They used to have the whole world, right? And then pretty much they can't go outside their neighborhood. Then they can't go outside their house. Then they can't go outside their floor. Then they can't go outside their room. Finally, they cannot leave their bed. Leave alone the bed. They can't look anywhere except where you put their head. Right? They can't. You know, their memory begins to go. Right? They don't remember their children. They don't remember. You know, world begins to shrink. Right? Now, if a person has been materialistic, then their world will shrink into some kind of darkness. Right? They will remember all sorts of things that are irrelevant. They will start arguing about vegetable prices, right? They'll do all kinds of things, right? But if a person has been Krishna conscious, then their world will shrink, and the spotlight will be on who? On Krishna. Krishna will be there in their consciousness. So, doing all of these different things, such as residing in the temple, doing all of these things, is not only going to benefit us, but yes, for example, how would I benefit a dog? I would give him prasadam. How would I benefit a cow? I would give her prasadam. How would I benefit, a pig? I would give it prasadam, even though it might not eat it, right? So similarly, if a person is in dog, pig-like consciousness, then yes, give them prasadam. What can be done? What can be done? And Srila Prabhupada also said that. you know, he would sometimes give a class full of people who were incapable of understanding what he's saying. They would be asking stupid questions. Really, like he's a saint sitting in front of you. And you are saying, making comments that make no sense. And then Srila Prabhupada said, all right, chant Hare Krishna and walk away from there. Right? Because what can you do? Right? Kirtan is the only thing that we can benefit. So yes, prasadam is there, Kirtan is there, but if you are capable, all of you here are capable. Look at you, bright faces, capable, right? Do the whole thing. Don't cheat yourself. Okay, so very quick recap. I can see my little Yamaduta is standing here. But yeah, he needs to keep the thing going, moving on time. Otherwise, things won't happen. Quick recap. Okay. Krishna understands your intention. Can't fool him. Trying to be number one, he can detect that very quickly and he can correct that also if he wants. Okay? This is Krishna is our happiness. We have lost Krishna, we have to get back to Krishna. Anybody should approach Krishna because Krishna says that approaching him is the only way we can become happy again. Anybody can approach Krishna. Every single one of us is 100% qualified. There are no restrictions whatsoever. We chanted this verse, how everybody, different classes of devotees approached and acquired Krishna in different ways, but we cannot necessarily follow them. You definitely don't want, you cannot be such a big demon like Kamsa, for example, etc. So here's a translation, who should we follow? That was a trick question. We should follow none of them. We should follow the devotee by practicing devotional service. Krishna says, Yeme bhakta jana parthan, name bhakta strena, but bhaktana me bhakta, teme yukta tamomata. So, bhakta tamomata. So Krishna says that the person who claims to be a devotee, not my devotee. No, I'm a devotee of Krishna. Krishna says you are not my devotee. But a person who is a devotee of my devotee, Krishna says is my devotee. He says this to Arjuna in the Adi Purana. Okay, so we read this. We spoke about Narad Muni, how he is teaching everybody bhakti. Srila Prabhupada, the perfect representative of Srila Prabhupada, of Narad Muni in this world. But not only Srila Prabhupada, not directly Srila Prabhupada, but Srila Prabhupada's servants. And we are aspiring to Vasana Vas, which will become Dasana Das. Right? Here's the famous verse, which is a favorite of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so specifically, you want to chant Hare Krishna, read Srila Prabhupada's books, take Krishna Prasad, dance in Kirtan, and serve Krishna specifically by serving his devotees. And then what happens after if you do that? Become happy. Now and thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mahabhagat Prabhu. Once again, we can show some appreciation to Mahabhagat Prabhu. As you can see on the corner right, there's a small website. It is something that Mahabhagat Prabhu maintains. So if you would like to connect with Mahabhagat Prabhu with any of your questions or would like to discuss any matters relating to teachings from Bhagavad Gita, please do reach out to him. We'll be more than happy to
It's my life. If you want to approach Krishna and want to serve Krishna, and if I can serve you in your service of Krishna, you'll be making my day. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mahabhagat. So we have some announcements before we can disperse for Prasadam. We'd like to thank and honor all the wonderful donors for today. We have 5 families. So I'm going to go over their names and then we're going to chant the Maha Mantra thrice, thanking all these